there's a question right here too in regards to the dogs and stuff. Why haven't they eaten for 7 days? Is that to mimic nature and hunting patterns?
Exactly that. Exactly that. 100%. Like I was saying earlier, that when they're eating, they'll eat so many. People usually feed their dog 2 cups of kibble a day, 2 cups of cancer a day. You know how I am with the kibble, and two
Like
cups
cancer. Yeah.
all this chlorine, whatever, all that bad stuff that's in the ingredients that they could look at themselves, even in the pyramid food. So when they eat all these pounds and pounds and pounds, all in a day, they'll eat until they're full, and their body would digest it all. They'll absorb all the nutrients. There's a lot of bone in a lot of the meals that they eat in nature as well. So their poop would also turn white instead of the nasty poops that you see nowadays. Just like when you go on a farm or certain areas, or like when lizards, even outside, you see them poop white, or birds poop white when you're eating natural things out here. Same with the dogs. That's the way it's supposed to be because of the calcium as well. Helps out their whole entire bodies. Everything as natural as possible that I can get. And it also takes 5 days for the bones to digest in their systems. People can look this up as well to see as well. So you don't want to be feeding them and overstuffing them when they got their bones still digesting in their system and their intestines and everything. And they eat enough to get it down their throat where they chum 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 and they chew it up to put through their esophagus and everything.
Yeah.
But
And
yeah,
also kind of, or do you have something else you want to say right there?
yeah,
Or?
yep. Just like the Arctic wolves or different types of animals, they go and even dogs have this hibernation to them. Back in the days in old country living, dogs would live under the house. They wouldn't even eat. I have these books, a bunch of them. In my books, it's pretty wild. They have dogs that haven't eaten in 3 to 4 months straight, nothing at all. And I'm like, wow, right? Um, and people would feed them their scraps and all this stuff. But my dogs are eating pounds and pounds and pounds, even hundreds of pounds in a day, and then they'll go for a whole week. But when I noticed through observation as well, and it's also great. That's another thing I love to do is observe wild dogs in nature, and you can just learn so much. Just like right now, my dogs are in heat, and I don't got them separated at all. I don't want to breed these certain dogs I have in my backyard. I don't want these to breed, but I'm not separating them either. But they're not doing that because I simply tell them not to through communication. And a lot of people ask that as well. How do you get my dog, to get off my other dog and won't stop pumping my other dog and mate my other dog? They don't even want to eat when they're in mating season. So that's how also the fast prolong a lot longer. The nutrients are still sustaining as well. But yeah,
That's interesting stuff.
it definitely is so cool.
Do you think dogs can communicate to you in dreams?
Great one. I've seen videos, paranormal channels where there's ghost dogs, and everything has a doppelganger and a parallel universe to it. And just like our astral body, you ever watch those videos, Ezekiel, where it shows men teleport on camera, like YouTube videos, and it shows like
Oh
some
yeah, I've seen tons of those. Yeah.
behind a little pole while a lady's walking with a stroller and a baby, and then this big old guy comes behind a pole out of nowhere, and different people are appearing out of nowhere, but no one there, I observed, actually pays attention to those people that are coming out of there, and it's not AI or anything. What it is it's that's their astral body. They're really there. And let's say they're sleeping in Florida at 3 o'clock in the morning. They're really in China at 5 o'clock p.m. in real life in the physical because their astral body traveled there, their mental body's there, the etheric body's there. So they're actually caught on camera there. And I had a dream I was in China, or I just had deja vu. I was here before because you were here before. Don't you remember when you were dreaming it with your astral body? Or some people get hurt in their dreams and then they end up having the scars. We had a lot of our students happen to this as well, and they'll have it in real life. Same with my mother when she astral projected, she ended up touching a rose bush, and then she has a scar up to this day when she was a spear orb ball astral projection, and still has a scar from it.
That projection. The projection part is interesting. That's
With the astral
I
body.
could explain some of that phenomenon going on, but also I would say like, can technology really capture, like especially with the technology that is in the mainstream right now, can it really capture something that the eye can't see? That's kind of like, because people will come to question that because
Do you mean camera?
yeah,
Any
like a camera, security
or
cameras, audio, all that kind of stuff.
it can't capture anything spiritual since it's immaterial, but it can only capture material, which would be astral, which would be thoughts. It can capture thoughts as well. They already photograph thoughts. They have that. I'm sure you're aware of.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
yep, it can capture all types of stuff because it's consciousness. All this is material, and there's less camera filters on the older cameras, of course, and some of those security cameras and some of those things. But a lot of people start to tweak them nowadays for AI, of course. But at the same time, yes, it can be used. And just like all the orbing I've done with, it's pretty easy to do with your phone. If you have, because the first dimension as a point is about, first dimension is where attention goes, energy follows. Then we have the second dimension, and they use it like a bar. So when I have my camera and I'm doing my orbing and I'm projecting orbs, and my camera's focused, then I see the orbs as a point moving around everywhere. And then if I blur my camera, you put your hand in front of it a little bit, get some way to blur it, then the orbs appear as to the second dimension as a bar. And then if you add a mirror, if you add a little water to your filter, if you add some type of lighting, laser or something, you can then start to get that orb into the third dimension. And you can start altering it through elements, through film.
Yeah. And well, the whole realm of projection too, going back to that entire concept, is that like there's layers underneath reality, and it's almost like right now, for example, your experience is almost like a blanket, if you will. There's like everything's blanketed, or maybe a better analogy is the jungle, right? When you go to the jungle, there's density, there's like so many different layers and plants covering everything.
Oh, yes.
So when you talk about projection, you're like putting things in front of you're basically putting things to the forefront to where that's kind of the main thing that's observed.
Exactly. Like
So
this is a glass of water, and smoke was used for this as well. And you can see a deceased boy here from a mother's son being used, and Braham over here, different things, orbing, and the glow of the body, and all these type of different things. Yep.
and so, by the way, just to talk about the orbiting thing real quick, basically, you've recorded on some videos you releasing orbs from yourself, or what you would consider maybe an angelic entity or something like that. And I mean, even to add on to that too, like people are seeing in the skies now, especially in the US, orbs now. Whereas like before, inwardly, you can see orbs. Like I've talked to people before that have closed their eyes and they'll see white orbs or dark orbs. They'll see different orbs inside of their sight. And now it's actually becoming more like, again, I talked about the projection thing, like it's getting pushed to the forefront, like, of everything.
Yeah.
These orbs and stuff are coming to the forefront of like the layer of reality in a way. I mean, it's kind of like also if you do video editing, you're like, there's layers to that video and you got to put the correct one on the top so it's in the forefront, so it's not behind everything else.
Right.
So
I
we're going
remember
to see that happen.
when I first started my YouTube channel, this guy who wasn't my best friend, now he's my best friend, but I didn't know him at the time. He flew me out to Austin, Texas, and he's seen what I can do. And he had 3 near-death experiences, so his life was really started to be very spiritual. So he flown me out, and he's like demanding in a cool way with excitement. He's like, "Call the angels down right now." And then so I go, "Okay." So we get on his roof, and these big old electrical balls, like the size of a basketball from space, come all the way down, and they go through my body, and all types of cool events. And we just started this moving like so supernatural. Every time I go see him together, him and I sync in, as a unit like that. And then we'll start doing the regular small little orbs. We can tell people to close their eyes or open them and also feel them. We'll throw them on their hands, boom, bow, twist them, and and it's really cool and really neat what can be done. But yeah, now people are waking up to this on a larger scale, but it's applicable even when someone's getting the chills and I'm talking to them like someone that was religious. This happened one time where I'm like, Jesus never leaves you, he never forsakes you, he's literally here right now. And then they'll get the chills on their body, and then right when they get the chills, I can feel it, and I tell them they're getting the chills, and you can see all these, it's been externalized, this energy just shooting off. And inside the orbs you can also see pictures. Like I told him, your pit bull passed away. I couldn't see it in the orb, but I could see flares and energy fluttering with my eyes. and you can also catch it on a camera. And then when you zoom in afterwards, after I said that in real life, then you can actually see. He's like, and you can actually see a pit bull inside the orbs, or humans and extraterrestrials inside some of these orbs. So Ezekiel, it's something really cool that anybody can try, and you can try yourself sometime. This is something new that I brought to the table with my son. He was playing this game, and this game was called Five Nights at Freddy's. It was a board game, and in there was like this security chip little thing, and all the other, pretty much there was like these little coin badges. All of them looked the same. They felt the same, except one had a different picture on it, but it was all the same material, so you couldn't tell the difference. And there was like 35 of them, and you had to pull them out of the bag. So I played the game with him. Pretty much you can roll all you got, and you lose if you don't get it. And I just win every single time as soon as the game starts. And he's like, teach me how you do that psychically, so accurately like that. So an idea hit me, Ezekiel. This one's really cool. I told him, look at my eyes, and I'm gonna look at stick your hand in the bag. And I said, whenever you get a spark of the eye, a twinkle of the eye, pull it out, and I'll let you know when. So I'm looking at his eyes, even though he's my son. But you know how you can look at anybody and you can kind of see their past, their trauma, their hurt, when like a
Yeah.
reading, a prophetic, a word of knowledge. I ignored all that, and then the countenance of the face would change, and you see this subtle spark, but it's noticeable. You can record it. I have the recordings on my phone. When I zoom in, it's actually an orb that is going clockwise for him and counterclockwise for me. And right when I see the spark, he's done it with me. I've done it with him and his friends. And I'll go now, and he pulls it out. What? And it freaks out. Shake the bag around. You can do it 100 times in a row. Every time that spark comes, you're getting it right. And it's a cool experiment that no one's looked into yet. Something I found on my own. I'm very,
Interesting.
very interested.
Eyes change for sure.
I even go to my girl. I'm like, isn't this something? Isn't this mind blowing? Isn't this wild? The spark of the eye, because I heard it's the gateway to the soul. But every time it sparks, it's always 100% accurate. You can also, I even said, I'm going to use the TV reflection in my eyes, still try to see the spark. We tested like that, and then still getting the spark. I said, this time I'm going to turn around. I'll see if I can feel your spark. And the way he has the camera over here, and I'm looking over there, and I'm like, just spark, pull it out. And then it shows on the camera when you zoom into the eye, and
Yeah.
just building connections in such strong ways.
Yeah, that's what one of my friends does that to me, where he just like looks at me, he's like, oh, I can see the lights not in your eyes right now. And then
Oh, really cool.
sometimes like he would observe it. Oh, okay. Oh, shoot. Like, what have you been doing? Like the lights back into your eyes,
Yeah,
It's
yep.
just,
And then
so kind of observe like someone's countenance, like all you can see in their eyes, like,
his eyes
yeah, the
light.
light that they have, or
Mhm.
if they've been going through
Eyes
shit or stuff. And
oh yeah, that person's alive. Yep. You're alive. That person's alive. You can see the light in their eyes. You can also
yeah,
see people's eyes as well. Defeat and death and all that, of course. Yeah.
all those are intense emotions for sure.
That's 100% what they are. And where attention goes, energy follows. And all it was is the person invested most of their attention on images that blocked the light, and they reacted to those images, which um, emotions took their life force away. And yep, now they have a shadow haunting them, pretty much. Hmm.
And here's a thing too, is that like, how do people start to observe deeply? Because some people can't even see images. Some people, like, I know some people that they can't imagine something at all,
Right.
or the gears of their imagination don't work, something like that.
Yeah.
Also, like, if you want to open up realms where maybe you're going out of body consistently, or you have just this access to a will that is more freer, right? How do people get there? Because like, if I say right now, like, okay, I want to go out of body, let me close my eyes, and then like, boom,
Mhm.
snap a finger, I'm there. How can someone kind of have a will that's more freer, that can do more, and be more productive in this life?
Right. Number one, there was this old practice called the circle practice for those that had more of a consumerist mindset, with consciousness always defeating them in the situations you bring up. Compared to you and I, we just simply do the Lotus in such a way where we're just like, boom, we just drop down and do it. There was this old practice back then, way back then. Jesus and Prophet Muhammad also gave it to those that were among the crowd. Jesus gave this circle to those that were among the crowd. And it was called the circle practice. And what they work on is simply a small area of their consciousness. and whenever something's trying to come in, they just push it out, and they work on pushing it out because that's the way their perception's set up. A lot of those type of people fear certain practices. They're also caught up with a lot of the algorithms that consciousness tells them. I can't see images. Who told them they can't see images? It first started off like that with the voice,
Yeah.
because they do have a special calling, of course, and a purpose. And seeing images, I believe, is a beautiful thing. I want to get to that point. So the grass isn't always greener on the other side for them, and that's the funny thing as well. I would love to get to a point where I don't see images in that sense in my mind. Of course, you can use it as a tool to help you for better visualizations to get you to the point of feeling without images, and they're great on that. So some people judge it and see in certain ways, but yeah, I suggest the circle practice, which is just simply sitting in a circle. Imagine a small circle radius around them, and every thought, or they can't see it, whatever's coming to them or not coming to them. So let's say their problem is they can't see images, right? So they just sit there and they're seeing nothing, but there's going to be a voice that's going to harass them 100% saying, look, you're not seeing any images. Then you push that one away, and you push the next one away, and you push the next one away with the power of their attention. And once they're starting to learn to control a small portion of their consciousness, they're going to have a lot more control of their life where they're able to produce one. So just on the other hand, people that claim that they can hold images in their head, when you tell them there's a pink elephant, try to hold it for 30 seconds, and they can't, because something else will come in their mind as well. So it shows that they can't control consciousness, that consciousness is not them, that it's an algorithm, and it's like an email folder. Some people try to open up the spam and do the ho'oponopono, I love you, I'm sorry, forgive you, taking responsibility for what comes in the algorithm of the spam folder, and they moved it to their primary inbox, and then they suffer with the virus. But
Yeah. Trojan virus.
yep. But the funny thing is, we don't have to pay attention to what's in the spam. It's a choice, and it's just like the lotus flower. It's in a muddy, dirty. Remember this muddy, dirty, swampy water environment, and it doesn't fear that its DNA is going to get encoded by its environment. The dirty, muddy water is going to
Mhm.
get contagious. It pays attention directly to the sun, to the source, to the light, and it blossoms out, and then it's seen. Same thing in the religious aspect. God doesn't get involved in human affairs, and God doesn't know our name until we are seen by the power of choice to choose, because we all have the quote unquote Holy Spirit inside of us. We all have this choice to choose to shine bright, and we all can feel love deeply if we choose to. Some are more blocked off from others due to trauma and past experiences and sub personalities and past lives and different things like that. But in the end, we still have the choice to choose. Some have more shadows than the others, some don't or do. It doesn't matter. We're all carrying what we're carrying by the power of our attention and where we're going to invest it at. Never no excuses for anybody, but we can help carry each other's burdens when we recognize that in another, because each person's life and their journey is tough as hell. Everyone knows that. That's a fact. Life is just like the way I see with boxing. I was speaking with this gold medalist boxer a few days ago right over here, and I broke down a metaphysical way of boxing, and he really loved it, coming from a gold medalist Olympic boxer, and he gave me a really great compliment. Nice to hear from him. But I broke it down like this. I said, I see boxing as, once again, with the first dimension, where attention goes, energy follows or flows, right? So I said, what you want to do when you're setting up a knockout combination, of course, is you want to move the power of your opponent's attention like hypnosis. I said, let's say if I'm doing a feint, I get to read what their next move is going to be. Or let's say I'm going to give some shots to the body. I'm moving the power of their awareness, their focus, and their attention in that body area, causing tension to build up there. I'm building like a budget in a way, and I'm putting most of their dollars in one pot. And
Yeah.
that's once I do that, the knockout, of course, is where they're unaware, where they're unconscious, where they don't see it coming, the unexpected punch to the head or something, right? Of course, there's
Yeah.
leverage talking about. So I said, so I build up a currency in areas where I'm choosing to move the power of their attention at, or moving their bank system like that. But he loved the way I broke it down in a metaphysical way, where attention goes, energy follows, and then I can see what's open. I'm paying attention to the game. It's like a chess game like that in that sense, and strategy wise.
Well, that's the thing with fighting too. I mean, let's do an exercise soon. Anyone that kind of comes to mind, like that you get an intuitive feel on, just any exercise that you know.
Yeah.
But I want to mention that with fighters, like if you're going to be a fighter, you have to have some kind of philosophy because, especially going to be at fight at the highest level, because you have to always be in tune with the movements of your opponent that's around you. You can't for a moment to let down your guard and your attention. So in the same way, like in a metaphysical sense, like we're closing our eyes, going into silence. That doesn't
Yeah,
mean that we doesn't mean that we lose more attention or we're becoming all of a sudden unaware or unconscious, but we're kind of pulling ourselves back in a way which can seem very ethereal or otherworldly. And some people do actually go to sleep because they don't understand what's going on. Like it's just too much to them. Like when they start to expand their
yep,
level of awareness. But yeah,
ex-
if you're a fighter, you kind of have to have the more advanced you get, the more you realize it's a philosophy, it's an art, the way that you go about
the rhythm
um,
of the
the
pattern,
rhythm. So
and
yeah,
synchronize. Even when I'm jabbing somebody, I can synchronize. I can get their body to synchronize with a beat or a pattern, and then I break that pattern, and it's the unexpected one. And this is what happens to us in life. Mhm.
exactly, exactly. You have to observe yourself and remember yourself in order to come into
Mhm.
alignment with all of your centers, and
Exactly.
use all of your powers. Because in a way, we're not at that level. If and usually we're at a lower level, so
Yeah, we're at a wasteful level, and same thing when
graceful level, yeah.
because I'm a personal trainer. And a lot of people also come to me with nutritional advice as well about how do I lose weight. And I'm like, you don't want to lose weight. You want to get rid of that waste that's in your body, that mucus that you have calculated up, before you're able to even absorb the nutrients or anything like that. I'm like, let's get rid of the waste first because that's wasteful energy. And like you're saying, being in alignment and using our energy like that appropriately, they're at a lower vibration when you have a lot of waste in your body, toxins and everything. So I say the less you eat, the more energy you're gonna have.
So, yeah, she said this is why the technique Nico just spoke of works because man is like a machine. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's so
And
true.
if you want to be clear on which specific technique, you're talking about the boxing when he's like going after their attention. I think if you can clarify, that would also help too. But why don't we get into maybe a practice we can all do together, maybe just for like a minute or so, however long you think is needed or necessary. It can be quick, long, however you want to do it.
Let's
But
do it. Maybe you'll make this one into a short or something. I'm gonna see if I can make it into maybe 90 seconds or 60 seconds or around 90-second mark.